Sailing through the heavens, the vessel of a distant civilization was carrying its army on its way to find a new, habitable destination. They had already overrun their own homeworld, eradicating all other forms of life that had tried in vain to halt their conquest of the planet. However, as their population expanded, they had grown beyond the capacity of the planet, and thus they began to send off armies to other planets across the galaxy. This was one such vessel. Dormant within the meteor, they await the moment of impact. The energy generated from the impact of the meteor itself would awaken them from their suspended animation, bringing them immediately into their combat-ready forms. The design of the vessels was ingenious. Not only did the energy from the impact serve to kickstart their metabolism up from suspended animation, but the raw explosive force of the impact also worked in their favor, decimating whatever defenses were in that vicinity, crippling opposition, if not outright annihilating it. Who were these invaders? They are the Worm. Out from the impact site emerged Worm King, the leader of this worm army. The meteor struck in the heart of the Ice Barrier tribe's city, devastating the population and clearing the surrounding area of all life. Before they could even realize what was going on, the Ice Barrier tribe was under attack by the alien worms.
Yes, yes! That's it, my children. Burn, destroy, kill! These weaklings didn't even survive our W Nebula meteorite. Looks like we won't get to have very much fun here, unfortunately. But a planet of weaklings.
Come on, King, it's always fun nonetheless. We'll just have to play with them more slowly.
The Ice Barriers were quick to react to this foreign invasion, though.
General Gantala! General Gantala! We are being attacked from within our own borders.
What? Who could muster up such an offensive? Is it the X-sabers?
No, it's... I don't know what it is, to be honest. A meteor hit the west side of the city and decimated our forces. And if that weren't bad enough, these snake-like creatures came out of nowhere and started killing everyone in sight. I ordered a retreat and I have pulled back to the inner wall here with the few forces that were remaining. They are advancing here rapidly, though.
Quick, we must make haste and report this to General Grunard. We will put a plan of action together with him.
The worms were making quick work of the defensive forces as they fought their way towards the inner wall. Magicians blasted them with icy frost fruitlessly. The worms walked through their jets of frigid air seemingly unaffected.
Grunard! Grunard!
Gantala, what is it? What is with the alarm?
We're under invasion.
Who is it?
We're not sure. These invaders look nothing like we have ever seen before. Ryo saw them with his own eyes.
That's right, Grunard. I saw them. They are something out of this world. The entire west side of the city has been annihilated, and they're making their way here now. What should we do?
Gantala, Raiho, ready the army and move them out to meet the invaders. Prepare for battle. I will contact the High Magicians and notify them in case we need more power to repel this foe.
The worms had already made their way to the inner wall and were starting the process of tearing it to pieces, brick by brick. They had decimated the small guard forces of the Ice Barrier that had tried futilely to intercept them. Unfortunately, these forces were routed.
Tough with those walls! I can sense their warmth amidst this frigid weather like a beacon in the night.
General Gantala and General Raiho led their forces out to the gates to meet the invaders. The insectoid-like creatures were ferocious warriors, fiercely pouring forth even after watching their brethren be cut down before their eyes. Their forms varied vastly from one creature to another, but they were all similar in one regard. All of them were grotesque. Their army seemed not only endless, but growing, as if they were being constantly spawned from somewhere, somehow. In actuality, at the site of the impact, the W Nebula meteorite was not just a vessel for transport, but also a spawning hive for the worms. It could spawn limitless numbers of the alien creatures, and has continued to do so ever since the collision. To the south of the ice barriers, the worms were already making their way to attack other civilizations. They were quickly spreading out in all directions, adapting easily with aquatic function as they crossed the sea, searching for the greatest beacon of heat, the volcanic isles of the Flamva. In no time at all, the worms had landed on the volcanic isles, seeding the island's warmth to increase their rate of reproduction. Soon, 1 became 10, and 10 became hundreds. Urukizas was the first to intercept them, but he found himself in a dire situation. He was alone.
What's going on here? Who are you? What do you want?
Upon the realization that these invaders could not be reasoned with, Urukizas charged into battle, skillfully wielding his fire to repel the worms. With powerful jets of fire, he was able to cut down lines of the worms as they tried to push forward. Urukizas' power was indeed impressive, and he was truly worthy to lead the Flamvel. His wit was not dull either, as he soon realized his efforts against the worms here would be simply in vain if he were to continue to fight.
I can't fight them off alone. I have to retreat for now.
With one burst of his power, Urukizas unleashed a massive column of fire, allowing him the opening he needed to retreat. He needed to regroup with the Flamvel and coordinate an attack on these worms immediately. Making his way back to the tribe, he found Flamvel Magician and immediately warned him of the new invaders that had appeared before him on the Isles. The Magician was troubled by this finding, but quickly gathered up the tribe and formulated a defensive strategy against them.
We need to pull up to the peaks of the volcano and defend ourselves from there. That will give us the best chance, as we are able to utilize the high ground and the lava. If it comes down to it, the Flamvel can coordinate an eruption to glass these bugs.
In another part of the world, in the dusty desert, Gotams was receiving a report from Faltrol, one of his high-ranking officers.
Commander Gardens, it looks like there's some invading force that is attacking the ice bears in the north. They are some sort of underworld creatures and seem to be quite formidable. They have broken through their defenses and the ice bears have gone on their retreat.
In this moment, Gotams had a gleam in his eyes as he saw the window of opportunity open wide just for him.
Excellent. Prepare our entire force to move out and head to the north immediately. This is the chance we have been waiting for. The chink in the armor of the impenetrable ice barrier has finally been exposed.
Yes, sir. I will call together our forces and prepare them for the northward journey.
Gotams finally had the chance he had been waiting for. Locked in the precious clash of power between the 4 great powers, it was obvious to him that the ice barriers posed the greatest threat. There was no way that it would have been possible for the X-sabers to execute an invasion of the north. The cold weather alone would put their clan at a severe disadvantage, let alone the sheer might of the ice barrier army. They would have been crushed before they even got close to breaking through the walls. That is, until now. These invaders had already done the hard work for them, Gotams reasoned. All that was left for him now was to march into the ice barrier's territory and finish them off. That would leave only 3 remaining great powers, of which he was confident that the X-sabers were the most powerful. What Gotams failed to consider in his excitement, though, was that the power of the worms themselves was far greater than his own. If the ice barriers were having trouble fending them off, just how strong were they truly? Across the world, in the deep windy valleys, a similar report was being made.
My lord, it seems like there is a dark storm brewing up in the north. The ice barriers are under siege by creatures that we have never seen before. What do you think we should make of this?
Is that so?
Mist Valley Thunderlord was carefully considering what he had just been told. He knew that Gotams would get the same news very soon. In his mind, he already knew Gotams' course of action.
Prepare our forces to move to the north as fast as possible. If the ice barriers fall, it will only be to the benefit of the X-sabers. And Gotham knows this well enough, I'm sure. He will be seeking to reap the benefits of this invasion.
What's your plan then?
to protect the ice barriers from any of Gotham's cowardly assaults and stop him.
Mist Valley Soldier readied the tribe to move out, and in the shadow of the night, the tribe rose into the air current of the divine wind of the Mist Valley and launched themselves forth into the night sky, flying high through the air, aided by their powers of wind. They were on a mission, a rescue mission to aid the ice barriers and thwart the plot of a Commander Gotham's. One by one, each of the 4 tribes had encountered the enemy. Each had a different approach to the invading worms, however. The ice barriers aimed for preservation. The X-sabers sought conquest. The Flamvell desired annihilation, and the Mist Valley fought for balance. In the end, none of these strategies would prove victorious alone.
Brothers, a catastrophe has come upon our world. Please lend me your power so that I can use it and save our planet.